In the early 1900s, many people from Europe left their homelands to come to the United States. My great-grandfather was born in 1893 in a small Italian town called Natile. He left Italy in 1909 to come to America.
My father lived in Italy. When he came to America, he left Italy because he did not want to fight in World War I. When he got here, he enlisted in the American Army.
He lied out of his age, and he came in the service when he was 17.
He came over with his cousin and a few of his brothers.
And his brothers, they thought life should have been easier over here. They said they had to work too hard for a living. So they went back, and Papa stayed here.
When he came to America, it was hard for him because he couldn't speak English, but he thought the country was very beautiful. And he went to work in the Virginia country where there was mining, and he loved it there.
And then he found a little woman named Mary Jane Yetto. I think he found her in Apollo.
Her sister was a mean woman. The kids weren't allowed to go in a garden and eat anything. My dad was boarding there at the time because that's where he was working in the mine. And he was boarding there, and he felt so sorry for my mother. That's the only way he could think of making her not get any more lickings.
Then whenever they came here to the farm, we only had 69 acres. Over there, and it was brushes and trees and everything, but a lot of beautiful stuff. There was chicken coops, you know, and sheep sheds, and all the good barns and stuff, and a great big Shanks barn that we'll always remember. And you know, it was a beautiful barn. Nobody ever lived in that, and I think we, little by little, how the storms came, we burned it. We lived up by it. But anyhow, Papa, between the farms and us kids, and walking, he had to walk to the coal mine. It's over the hill. I think it's about 4 or 5 miles. He had to go down there to walk, poor Papa. And us kids took care of the farm.
He worked very hard to raise his family, holding the 2 jobs down till we grew up.
We farmed a lot, and we sold milk, and we made cheese. And then whenever the kids was getting bigger, we got white-faced cows. How they lived, white-faced didn't take a lot of work. But anyhow, some of the neighbor up here, he needed money, so Papa bought 20 acres, I think, off of Graham's farm. But later on, we bought it all. And we wound up having 100 acres, I'd say, 99 to 100 acres. And then we kept farming on that for white-faced cows, because everybody was working out, but everybody helped, you know, with the hay and stuff, put it in a barn. But I left the last, and I kept the cows fed and everything, but they did all the outside work to help.
In October of 1929, the stock market crashed and the Great Depression began. By 1933, around 13 to 15 million Americans were unemployed.
The Great Depression was very hard on my dad. He had, I'm going to say 5 children. He had 5 children, and I said, the miners were pretty hard to work for because they were starting unions, and he had a hard time with that. He moved from one mine to another mine.
You know what? We didn't mind because we was a big family. We were poor right along, you know, and we had all the meat we wanted. We went out in the fields and got the jelly, and Mama did the canning, the jelly. Back then, everything was right under our feet. We did everything. It was nice back then, I thought.
But our main breakfast was coffee, milk, and sugar. Every morning and every lunch.
And we just worked and labored, so we didn't really notice it, but we didn't have no clothes. I remember when I went to high school, I can still see that one girl. She told Polly, she told me, hey, I saw your sister with that dress on yesterday. That's what one told me in high school. She had a lot of nerve, but we didn't care. But I could have kicked her in the butt.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Well, really and truly, that was a big time in our life. World War II was. My brother had to go to the service, and we were more girls, and we only had 2 brothers, and the smallest one couldn't go.
But when Mickey went to the war, There was no men left around here, so really there was just, me and Annabelle's all I know. We did most of the work around here in all the farms. Aunt Francie, with Mama's sister, got real mad at us. She said, you know, Jenny, you shouldn't be sending them girls out in them fields. I can hear her say that yet.
What my average day was, when I got up in the morning, I had to milk the cows, then we'd go up for breakfast, then we'd go down and we'll take care of cleaning up the barn and feeding the cattle. When the afternoon come, we used to have to go down and feed them again, make sure they got water, because there was no running water down by the barn at that time. We would go back down about 5 o'clock and milk the cattle again, and then we would have to feed them and bed them down for the evening. And the evenings were very well spent with our family. We enjoyed being in the evenings myself.
Tell the truth, I liked it. We worked up from sun up to sundown. And it was nice, and we let poor Mama do all the cooking and everything, and we stood out in the fields. We just labored like regular farmers did them days. I don't know about the rest of the family. I probably was too dumb, but I really loved it. Because after so many years, him and a few of his people that came over, they went back.
And he said it was a lot better than it was when he was there.
Then he come over here, he said they just fed me with olive oil and everything. But they treated him like a baby. They loved him. They didn't want him to come back home.
That trip was very hard on him. When he got there, they met him with horses and buggies there too. And they were all lined up in the street. It makes me sad. They were all lined up in the street waiting for him. And his sister was there yet, I think. His sister, when he got there, his sister was still living, and all of his relatives were still there. But he got in contact with one of his cousins. He was a priest, and he showed a lot for Grandpa what to do in Italy.
He had a very nice family. They always wrote. But I never could understand Italian, and I had to go to one of Papa's friends to write, to read it to us to understand what it was all about. Mom and Papa, they very seldom talked Italian because we was always working, so we didn't know what they were saying. But till this day, I wished I'd listened. I'd like to speak.
They converted back and forth to each other. But when they did that, I thought I wasn't supposed to listen. That's why we didn't learn Italian and have no lie.
Only the bad words. That's all we heard Papa say, the bad words.
We always celebrated Christmas Eve as they did in Italy, with the 7 fishes and everything that went with it, and the family always got together.
That was the best part of my Christmas, was Christmas Eve. And they always tried to say you had to have 7 fishes. I don't think we always had 7, but we always had fish. We weren't allowed no meat, no cheese, or nothing like that, but that's what we did. But, and the way the world's living today, I'd still rather be back them days than now.